Trying to do my Wednesday devotion, and it keeps cutting out on me, telling me that it's trying to reconnect. I hope I've got it straightened out, whatever the problem is. But I wanted to just to share a thought that I had just earlier today, as a matter of fact. I spent a lot of time on the road lately, driving to Macon, Georgia, and back for a visit with our son. That was last week. And then on Monday, I traveled to Pulaski, Virginia, to do a funeral service for a good friend of mine who had passed away. Great lady. She was 91 years old, and family asked me would I consider doing it. Of course, I would. She was a good friend. And so I went alone, and driving up the interstate alone, I have a lot of time to think. I don't have the radio on or anything like that. I'm just driving and trying to stay out of the way of the people around me who only think they know how to drive. It's rather sad. That's another matter. And for some reason, along the way, something prompted me to think about the parable of the sower. You're familiar with that, I'm sure, about how, Jesus said the sower goes out to sow, and some seed falls along the pathway, some seed falls on the rocky ground, some falls on the thorny ground among the weeds, and some falls on the good soil. And then he talks about the other three soils, and in the end, the only one that brings forth, any measurable harvest at all is the good soil. As I was thinking about that on a completely different line, I'm driving up the interstate, and somewhere between Bristol, Virginia, and Lebanon, Virginia, over on the right side of the road, is a majestic old house. It's a monstrous house, big 2-story brick house that's very old. You can just tell by looking at it. It's a very old house. And it's got these big white columns across the front, and it's wide across the front and very deep. So it was a huge house, and out back there's an outbuilding that's got one of those weather vanes up on top of it, and I would imagine that in its day it was something to see. It was a beautiful place. It's one of those houses that you just enjoy looking at, and enjoying the beauty of it. And it represented wealth and position and influence. It represented all of those things. But you drive by it now, and it's just a wreck. It hasn't been taken care of in decades. It hasn't the columns on the front and all of the wood around the brick and everything. It hasn't been painted in who knows how many years. Of course, no one lives there, and it will probably succumb. Gravity will win out in the end, and the roof will cave in, and it'll just be random walls, brick walls, standing there. It's a testimony to something that was once a grand house, but is now just a ruin. What made me think about that as I passed that house and thinking about the parable of the sower, Hebrews 12:1 came to mind. At least the instruction of Hebrews 12:1. It says, "Let us lay aside every encumbrance," or lay aside every weight, anything that holds us back in our Christian life, anything that holds us back from following Jesus, that gets in the way of following Jesus. It may seem like this is a good thing, but now let me tell you, the bottom line is this: anything that gets in the way of us following Jesus is not good. It's not a good thing. It's death wrapped up in pretty wrapping paper, and that's all there is to it. Lay aside every weight or every encumbrance. that holds us down, holds us back, that makes us just want to stop. We tell ourselves, I'm just gonna take a break, I'm just gonna rest for a minute, I'm gonna be away, but then I'll be back. But it's not so. And this is why, because it says, lay aside every weight and the sin that so easily entangles. Once we stop, once we slow down significantly and stop in our pursuit of the risen Lord, sin has a way, just like that kudzu. It takes over. That house, I don't know if I told you that or not, is covered now with kudzu. It's crawled up the sides, up the brick walls, and it's wrapped around the columns, and it's just a matter of time before it's completely encased in kudzu. What was once a magnificent structure will soon be just an unrecognizable lump. No idea what's in there because it's covered over with kudzu. You see, that's what sin does to us. If we slow down, if we stop, we take a break. I'm not quitting. I'm not stopping. I'm going to press on. We take a break. Boy, that sin, like kudzu, it begins to entangle us. And before we know it, we can't move. We can't re-enter the race, because the weight that we stopped for has now made it possible for us to become encased in this sin that has overtaken our lives, and where once there was this beautiful testimony to the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, where once there was this life that was so bright and such a light shining in darkness, a life of such influence, a life of such goodness, where grace was evident and mercy abounded. Now it's just an unidentifiable mess. There is no light. There is no life. The testimony is to actions to be avoided because someone took a break. They tried to carry everything with them that they brought from their old life into their new life of following Jesus. And they couldn't do it, so they stopped for just a little while. And now it's just a mess. We got to remember, folks, Paul says in Galatians 5:16, walk by the Spirit, you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Those things, those desires always feel right. They always feel proper. They always feel good. But they're death. They are death. Walking in the Spirit and following Jesus is not where life is found. It is life. Anything else and anything less is death wrapped up in some kind of glitzy wrapping paper. Don't fall for it. Lay it aside. Set it aside. Throw it away. Cut yourself loose. Do whatever you have to do. But don't let it slow you down. Don't let it keep you from following Jesus. Because to do that is to simply lay down and die. Now, I don't mean for that to be so heavy-handed. I don't mean for that to be a word of encouragement to you. That Jesus is worth it. Whatever it costs, Jesus is worth it. In this life, He's the only thing it is. He's the only one who is. Everyone else is going to die and leave us behind, or we're going to die and leave them behind. Far better to leave behind this bright and shining testimony to the wonders of the salvation that we have in Christ Jesus than it is to sacrifice that in order to accommodate them. Does us no good, does them less good. I encourage you. I urge you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, give me a call. Come to church. We're having church here in another 15 minutes or so. Get in your car and come here. The sun's shining, not a drop of rain within 5,000 miles. If you can't come tonight, come Sunday morning. I'll see you 9:15 for Sunday school, 10:30 for church. We're not hard to find. And as I always say on Facebook, we're saving you a seat. I hope you'll have a nice evening and a great rest of this week, and I'll see you Sunday morning. God bless you.